Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. Today is Tuesday, September 25th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and I'm doing the lesson a little bit early again today. It's only a little after 2 o'clock, but I've got some commitments I got to see to this afternoon, so I want to go ahead and get the chart lesson out of the way. Not a lot of entries today, but it really was a good trading day, and it was a great opportunity to make some money on some pretty good moves, and there were some nice bounces. Actually, I should have marked this one too. There was actually some nice bounces today for some buying opportunities, but it gets really risky buying bounces on a day like this, because you see what's happening here. Every time you get a green bar and you get a little bounce, it just sells off. So there was a really good buying opportunity here, and even then it took it a while. It scared me. I thought I had messed up, and I actually bought one right here I'll talk to you about. I didn't mark it, but man, this thing is really selling off. This is what I thought was going to be the low for today, and that we were going to bounce off of this, and you see that just turned into, it just went right through there and turned into a breakout pullback short. Now we're way down here, which I had a target. This was my initial target because of these lows from here, and there's actually another low in this same area a few days ago. This may be a tick or two lower, and I think that's what that bounce is right there. We bounced off this low first, and then we went a few ticks lower and bounced off the next one, but all they were just quick, easy bounces, and then, man, it was off to the races downward again. But if you measure this first leg, there it is, and then a second leg. So I was looking for 1440 to probably bring in a pretty strong low, and you see what happened there. But when you get a real strong overshoot like this, generally that's the bottom of the barrel. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this thing race out of here now. Don't go buying the market if you watch this and the market hadn't closed yet. But my guess is we race out of here. We'll look at it again in a minute. We could come back up and test the trend line and go lower. But I'm guessing we're going to race up out of here, and that's probably going to be, that's kind of your final capitulation type move there. And you see that sometimes on a real strong move, and we had that. So we'll come back and review that and see what happens. But let's look at we started out in what I thought was going to be another tight trading range. And I was thinking we may get some lows right in here. But when we broke on lower, then I was looking for the lows down here, like I said, from these were yesterday's lows. And if you go way back over here, you can see we had another low, and see it's a few ticks lower. So that's on a bigger picture, that's a double bottom. And you'll usually get a bounce off those, and we just didn't really get it today. You see, we hesitated in there. We bounced off the first low. We bounced off the second low. But boy, they were weak bounces, and it can just continue to sell on off. So that's why buying blindly sometimes can be very dangerous. So you got to be careful doing that. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. This, I would definitely consider this a wedge. You can see it's kind of a flat top wedge, and prices are trending higher, but they're really struggling to break above that. So I marked these two shorts because they were legitimate shorts. They weren't the best because we're making higher lows, but this one set up pretty good because we broke higher, pulled back, and then we had a second entry long, and it failed instantly. So that's a nice long trap up here at the highs. And really, if you draw that up there, you can see we got a little double top right at the highs from yesterday. So that's worth the short, figuring prices are probably going to come back down and test these lows back to the trend line, and that's where we went. Then, of course, look what happened. We made a reversal pattern right at that trend line. So then you got a nice long opportunity, and that's a nice bullish reversal type bar. You go long right there, figuring you were going to come back and test the high again. And so that was a nice, easy trade. And we did break higher, and we failed instantly. And then you made this bearish bar, so you could have gone short right there. However, when prices didn't break there and we made this bar, that made it kind of suspect. And you notice we broke under there, and then that's kind of a little breakout pullback retest on this bar right here. Let me make that a little bigger so maybe you can see it. We retested that high again and then turned down, And so it was okay to go short right there, but once we had that 3 bars in a row, and this is kind of a doji, it was a little bit questionable, but we had failed on a break higher, so generally it's going to pull back to at least test the previous lows, and there is enough room there to scalp out. So if you took that trade, nothing wrong with it. And if you caught it, you caught all this move because there's not really another good setup here. You might consider this a decent setup because we came back and tested that breakout area and then turned down again. So you could look at that as a breakout pullback, but these lows are so close in here that it just was risky to take that because we didn't have all this price action showing us how weak this down move was right here. And so I didn't like anything past that, and I didn't take anything. In fact, I went long right here thinking we were going to bounce and have a range day, and I got out by the skin of my teeth here. And I'll show you this trade just so you see it. As you notice, there's a low here, there's a low here, a low here, and another low here. Well, usually when you break lower, you're going to come back and test these areas. And but what I saw here was we just broke below this low, and we were getting really close to this one. But I was looking at how far away from the EMA we were on what at this point looked like a range day. And so when we made this little doji right here, I've dropped a limit order right there, thinking that I get a chance to buy the low, and even if we do go lower, I've probably got this at my back to help me. And so I entered it, let's see, I think it was 51 or so there, yeah, or 51 and a quarter, and notice where we went to 52.50. So I got out of that with the skin of my teeth, and I had to risk that this turned down again. But then when that happened, I really thought we were coming all the way back to the EMA or the trend line. But it ticked up, and what happened was people like me that were in there, they exited and they didn't add on or anything, and this thing turned down instantly. So there's a short opportunity right here. It's a little bit risky because we're so close to this low, but this was a pretty strong move, and now we got a two-legged correction. So you're thinking, hey, we may get another leg like this, and then you notice off to the races it went. And so then you got to be thinking that, if you copy this trend line and you drag it over here, that we're probably headed to this channel. We got a channel forming here, and that's exactly where we went to and bounced. Again, it was risky going long here, but when you got this overlap this far away from the EMA, the odds are really strong that we're coming back to that EMA. So I don't recommend people trade that. It's just, until you've watched prices for a long time, because just like here, I almost got in trouble right there buying blindly like that. And so I didn't buy this blindly. I waited till we got the overlap, and I had a limit order sitting here, but it never got filled. So when it broke higher, I dropped a limit order right here, and I did get filled on it, and it was a fairly easy trade. Didn't get any runners out of it, even though we went higher there. And I really thought, hey, there's a chance we may come back into this. And there was actually a long here on this trap, but after this leg down and no trend line break yet, you just couldn't be going long right there. So it was better to wait on the short. Nice short setup right there, right off the. And notice where prices went to. They went back and tested this breakout area. Look right there. And so you got two legs back, so that's a breakout pullback short. It's a second entry short, and a nice place to get short. And it was, again, they came back and got the break-even stops, but then they gave you a chance to re-enter here on this trap. And notice there's one leg back, pull back, second leg back, so that's another second entry short. And it's a nice bearish reversal bar that came right off the trend line again. Nice place to get short. And this time any runners were safe, and you could have ridden this all the way down. And I noticed then your lows from yesterday were right across here, which is this blue line. If you come back over here, that's this blue line right here, and that's a breakout pullback short. And we haven't gotten back down here to the trend channel line yet. We've tested that trend line twice, so that's a breakout pullback short. And so another opportunity to get short right there, and look at that move. I don't believe your runners would have survived this one. I did not trade this one, but there's a nice setup there, so I mark it. I was done by this time, and I didn't take any more trades. I was just kind of watching prices here. And you see we did come back to the EMA right there when we were so far away, and I'm guessing we're going to get at least another leg out of that. But we'll see. This thing has been weak, so anything's possible. But you definitely don't want to be thinking about going short now, even though we could go a lot lower, until we get a trap or some kind of really strong short setup, because that's suspect to trap people on the wrong side and then go higher, because we way overshot the trend channel line there. And I guess there's a possibility that was the trend channel, but it just doesn't look very good. And you can see right there we got multiple touches of it. 1, 2, 3. So I believe that is your channel. And you notice now that we got back above it, it's holding to the short side now. We're bouncing off of it again. So that's another sign. No good short set or long setup or short setup there though. And I wanted to show you this as well, and then I'm going to wrap it up. But here is how you notice that we had this little trend coming up here, and I put this trend line on here. And we had a break of it, which that's a little two-legged correction that broke the trend line, and then look what happened. We reversed and went back up and tested a new high and then sold off. And so that trend line, you can use these little short-term trend lines to help you in that same manner. And we've got one kind of right there. I mean, this one's a little harder to see. It's not as blatant as that one, but notice that we were trending up. We went below it and then ran back up and made a new high and then sold off. It's there. It's a lot harder to see on that one, but it helps to draw these lines because you can see this stuff. And here we go. We got a little trend right there. We broke it. We tried to come back up and we couldn't get there, but that's still the possible retest. It just was not strong enough. And this is more of a, really, to be honest, this is not really a little trend here. This is more of a trading range, and we broke below it, and that's like a breakout pullback, so we pulled back and tested it. So that's, I don't know if that's really a good example, but this one right here is perfect. And so try drawing those lines, and you'll see that you'll probably be able to, a lot of times when you get these bigger corrections like that, you'll be able to find those trend lines. And let's just see if we can see one real quick on the way down. We kind of had a trend right down through there. We broke it, and notice, look what happened. Then we came down, made a new low, and then we made a double bottom, and then off we went. So you can kind of see one there. And now we got kind of a little trend line coming down through there. And we pulled up here and broke above it, and then pulled back down, tested that low, made a reversal pattern, a double bottom, and then turned up. Those aren't as clear. This one was really clear and easy to see. And sometimes they'll be that way, but sometimes they're not so clear. But they're there a lot of the time. So draw your trend line. If it doesn't help you, it doesn't help you. But my guess is occasionally you'll get some clues from those trend lines. And even if you drew this one, let's just change this one. Even if you drew this one like that right there, you still got your break right there, and then a run to a new low, and then a retest of it, and then so you can find that was a pretty good one actually right there. If you took it off those first two swings right there, you got your break right there. Then you ran to a new low. You tried to go higher, retested that low, made a reversal type pattern, which is a double bottom, and then look, boom. So draw those trend lines, those short-term ones too, if you can find them, and just see if they don't help you a little bit. But I want to wrap it up. Let's go back and look. Yeah, you see we're headed to IRC here. We overshot that. Now that's a two-legged pullback to the EMA, but now you got two measured legs with really an overshoot. This would probably be good for a short down to here, but I wouldn't risk it this late in the day, and I wouldn't risk it this late after that much of a sell-off either, because my guess is we're headed back up to test this trend line and maybe even back up to test this, and we might even make a low for the day. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I got to get out of here today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.